All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I am your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am excited for our guest today because we're going to be talking about the keys to service business digital marketing with Krishna Lakkineni. And welcome, Krishna.
Thank you, Damon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I am just, first of all, thank you. Thank you. I just before we got on here, I was listening to your TEDx talk, and man, I just if people that are listening to this go up and look at your TEDx talk and do it. I mean, you want something that will um, make you realize what we have sitting where I am in today, or where you're at in Canada today. Um, it will do that, but it'll also tell you that we can do better. We can do
Yeah,
better.
definitely. There's so many opportunities and possibilities.
Yeah. So, Krishna, we always like to start back at the beginning. Your TEDx talk starts with that a little bit, and kind of work through your journey and how you got into what you're doing today. So let's start there, man.
Thank you. It's a long story and short story at the same time because it looks short because you have already done that. You know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I'm born and raised in India, and my dad is a teacher. So you have probably heard a very similar story from a lot of immigrants. And for me, it was very similar. I had my own setbacks and obstacles, and has many moments of I have no clue what I'm going to do if I get stuck here. And that was very scary when you're living with three pairs of clothes and two pencils for the entire year, and you're living day to day. And even though there was pain, and I'm grateful for those days that made me who I am today, I suffered, and I think that suffering led to I want to change this for myself, and my family can do better. And then I started learning and exploring what else is there to the world. How are these big companies making money? And I was very curious to dig around in terms of what the product is and how they're making money. Even though I was like 17, 19, had no clue, but like everybody else, I became an electrical engineer. So that was my engineering graduation. That's done. And I was always fascinated by computers, but couldn't get
Hmm.
through because you had to be 99 percentile to get computer science education in India because it's very competitive. So out of 200,000 that year, there's only a handful of them that goes to engineering school, and these are like IVs of India. And even though that was a good opportunity for me to explore a little bit more about myself, and I'm like, okay, now I can get a job and whatnot. But there were certain things in the like any other system, very bureaucratic and corrupt, and there were certain things that really challenged me. Like I spent my 21 years learning and educating and being top of the class. I had to do certain things that I couldn't agree with. And at the same time, I was helped by one of my professors to loan me some money and say, you can do more with your life. And that was my turning point. And then I moved to UK, did my post graduation certificate, and then I always wanted to be in a business no matter what. So I did another 2 years Chartered Institute of Management and Accounting. I haven't completed it. All I was looking for is how do I read business statements, balance sheets, loss and profit statements. And then I worked for an agency that was Carrot Media Group, Aegis. It has changed names over the years. That really gave me the opportunity to hone my skills in programming and technology and build systems for companies like Dell, Royal Bank of Scotland. So big companies, big opportunities, steep learning curve first 5 years. And I'm like, a lot of people work 10, 15 years to get this kind of experience.
Yeah.
And then with that, I was looking for what else can I do? Where else can I move? And then opportunity in Canada came up. and the company sponsored everything. And I'm like, okay, this is great. And I just had my first born at that time, my son, and I was really missing that family time. Like, the transition from uh, going to school and working to now all of a sudden you're a new dad. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to find some balance in terms of my family life. And I quit that job and I moved to Canada. And I think the greatest advantage that I had was everything starts in like San Francisco, London, New York, or Europe, like Paris. So these are the hubs of innovation. So if you're working in technology in these places, you're always on the top of the curve. It's like the chat GPT now. Like if you're in San Francisco, like 2015, 17, you're on ChatGPT a long time ago than anybody else. So I
Hmm.
had that advantage, and I'm like, okay, let me explore starting a new business. But the challenge is, I never ran my own business. I don't know
Hmm.
about running a real business. Okay, I had my team, that's all it ends. So I took a year to really learn the nitty gritty of what is running a business like. And there's a lot of case studies I went through, and business canvas model came in really handy to put it on the paper. Okay, let's pull the plug, let's make it happen. And then I think the first year was like made like $30,000 consulting. And I'm like, that's okay. It's great, but how do I scale it? Right.
Hmm.
And then it also gave me the courage because now I have some funding. So I'm like, okay, I can go and hire my first employee. And this is all the way back 15 years ago. Um, yeah, 2009, 2010.
Hmm. Wow.
And ever since, it's been new types of businesses and work with like 150 plus clients and 200, 220 projects oddly, and most of them are like lead generation and marketing. And our core focus is what can we do to bring value to our clients? What is that extra mile that we can go? And usually is tracking and conversions. This is where my engineering background and programming background comes in, because this is what exactly I was doing back in 2005.
Hmm.
So we just had that special secret ingredient,
Yeah.
and that changed a lot of things. And we can track everything for our clients and say, hey, you got like $300,000 worth of leads this month, and what is the percentage of closures, and how do we optimize it so you're having higher closing ratio?
Hmm.
And which is something easy to focus on, because it's difficult to acquire a new customer. But if somebody said, yes, send me the bill or send me a call, if you have a better systems and process in place, you can close them easy.
Hmm.
So our focus was on the conversions and setting up the overall process and measuring it accurately. So the client is happy, making money, and we're growing. And I didn't look back. And
Yeah.
COVID changed everything for everybody. That's like an
Yeah.
outlier. Uh,
Yeah.
but it was a great journey.
Yeah. Really cool. So Dan Aldridge is asking, what's your website?
It's ROIMediaWorks.com or .ca. I prefer people going to .ca because this is where we are.
Yeah.
And my personal website
ROIMediaWorks.ca.
is Lakkineni.com. That's LAKKINENI.com. Maybe that's the better option because they have all the other companies and projects that I worked on.
Okay. Good, good. So Dan, it's he's got it there for you. I just want to say, Dan, thanks for stopping by. And we got Anakin um is by here today. Thanks so much. And we will get you a profile link in LinkedIn. You are V Krishna in parentheses VK Lakkineni, and that you can find in there, Dan. And I will send it after we get off. But so let's go back, because I mean, you made it sound like you just did your ROI Media Works, and this is what you've been doing. Because we're going to talk today about service business, digital marketing, and you've already hit a lot of good stuff there. But you've developed some interesting stuff here, because the one that I was looking at that was kind of interesting, that Indo-Can golf links. What's this about golf?
That's a nonprofit charity.
Yeah.
Um, and they have been going for, I think, at least 12 years before me, and I joined the board just to bring the community together. And our
Okay.
goal was basically fundraise for our university and also for hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So every year we're running a golf tournament, invite all the business people, let's have some fun, let's donate some money. And then we created a lot of scholarships at the university here
Very
and
cool.
also bought a lot of equipment at the hospital. I mean, it's inevitable, like education and health, two things we just can't avoid,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
So good. So good. So now you got a couple startups you work with. One was QR and Buddy Golf. That's what I missed the wrong part. But so
Yeah.
Buddy Golf, what the heck is that? Or was it?
Buddy go, basically, let's say you want to golf right now and your handicap is like 12 or 14.
Yeah.
And what would you normally do? You would text three or four of your friends or post on a Facebook group and wait for the response, find the course that you want to go to, find the time slot, pay for it, and then you show up. But for me, those days I was learning golf and my handicap is high. So for good players, it was frustrating for them. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm dragging them behind. So I built this app basically you can just register yourself, put your handicap, so as the other people. And then if you want to go golfing, the heck, let's say Monday, 11 a.m., if you're free, you want to golf, you put that slot in, and then it sends notifications to the core people in your group that matches all those requirements. It's almost like the golf dating in a way. And then if they want to play, okay, and it automatically shows these are the slots available at this courses, click, click, click. 4 clicks later, you got your foursome. It made the booking. You pay for it. You just show up.
Wow. Wow. So that's cool because you're helping people that golfed about the same find other people to go golf with.
Yeah, like golf is probably most underrated business education in my opinion. I made a ton of connections, high net worth
Yeah.
individuals. You're there, you're talking, and it's business, and you can really see the behavior in the game itself. Like, okay, can I do business with this person or not?
That's a great point. I never thought about it. When I was in I lived in the Southeast for a number of years and golf was big. It was big there. It was like you said, we're doing business on the golf course at least once or twice a week. But you can still you can tell by how someone plays golf how they're going to be in business in life.
Yeah, like who moved this ball? Like,
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Or how you deal with adversity too. That's because that always happens in golf. But
yeah, I've seen all sorts of things. People throwing the clubs to, kicking the balls to, digging it.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool. So as you've been working with ROI Media Works, you talked a bit about that, and we're talking today about service business, digital marketing. I know that's part of what you guys are doing. And as you say, you're using dentists, HVAC companies, spas, lawyers, those service kind of businesses. What are some of the things that you're seeing that have really changed over the last 10 years in those kind of businesses and their digital marketing needs?
Well, from talking to like even now, people don't understand the power of digital marketing and advertising can do to their business. They think they're doing it, they think they're paying for it, but 8 out of 10 times when I look at their numbers, so you got 100 people, and then 99 people left within 2 seconds after they came onto the website. So they don't measure anything if it's helping their business or not. And that baffles me. And then along the way, using the marketing, how do you build a brand? It's like, if you're selling nails, you don't need to sell a hammer. It's just obvious. It's just like known. Okay, if you're buying nails, you need a hammer to go with it. So how do you build a brand so your conversions are high and you're attracting the right type of clients and customers so you're not spending too much in advertising dollars, right?
Yeah.
And over the years, I have done so many workshops educating them on the process, and we always believed and applied omni-channel presence. So it's not like just Facebook, it's just not like LinkedIn, it's just not like Google. What really works for you, but create a strategy in terms of where they're coming from. The first touch point from a customer from Google can be different than the third touch point that's coming from Facebook, but where they actually say, take my money and I'm buying this product, or I need an estimate. So those signals are really helpful to decide I'm spending too much money here or too less money there. And no
Yeah.
matter what business it is, I always encourage them to spend to the maximum as long as there is good return on investment, and don't be afraid of spending more in the ad dollars. You spend and spend, but when you're measuring your cost per acquisition for new client goes down, and then your closing ratio is high up, goes high, and then your revenues and bottom line goes up. And even today, a lot of businesses don't understand that complete cycle, and I educate them, and that's how we get our leads and say, this is what you need to do, and let's look at what you're doing, and let's find those problems that they're facing and solve them for them, right? And
Yeah.
with the AI now, it's even became much easier. The more you understand the consumer behavior, the signals are there, the better judgments you can make in terms of where you're spending the ad dollars. Believe it or not, like in terms of global advertising, 25 to 40% of all these programmatic ads, it's all wasted. It's all like either the bots or wrong people, wrong target,
Yeah.
or the ad shows up in an app where you had to wait 5 seconds to skip it to play the game. They're not the right target, right? And how do you effectively track these things and improving the conversions all the time?
Yeah. Yeah. So Dan's got a question. He said, how do you keep people on your website? Is it content? And then he asked about how do you measure it too, and what percent of your leads come through the website. But first, let's answer the first question. What are some of the ways? Because it is a, you mentioned it, because I know people, I see clients that get this kind of, they get their report from their marketing, so-called marketing person that says, well, you got X amount of visitors on your website. That's all they say. You don't say
Yeah.
what they did, how long they were there, or anything like that. So how do you keep people on websites usually when you're looking at these service businesses?
It's always the engaging content, talking to them face to face, and the technology's evolved enough to show a different type of content to a family versus somebody single looking for a different type of product. So how do
Okay.
you make those changes real time? I mean, there used to be A/B testing and conversion optimization, but now you can really use data management databases that links to your website, that changes the page based on what type of visitor it is, and the
Wow.
sections would look different. So a lot of tourism companies that we work with uses that technology, and it's so powerful.
No doubt.
And
So
and right now, video is golden. No matter if it is Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, or YouTube, it's the video. I mean, I'm not surprised the changes in people behavior. We used to write less, read more, but now we don't even have time to read a 250-word paragraph. But our brains are now set to watch a TikTok and scroll up. So the two-minute video works much better than a 2,000-word document.
yeah, that's a good point, because it is content, first of all, like you said, but if it can be video content, that seems like that really, everything I hear, everything I see from other marketing people and from results is when you can use your short form video, it
Yeah.
really makes a difference. Really makes a difference.
Yeah, and the relevancy too. So if
Yeah.
somebody searched a keyword and then they landed on the homepage versus the specific page, a landing page built for that targeted keyword, it's different. Like when they're on the homepage, they might not see the relevancy of what they search. For example, if somebody looks up like Morpheus 8 or cool sculpting, any of these spa keywords, if they go to the homepage, yes, it's kind of lost in between 10, 12 other treatments that the service provider has. But if we can send them direct to that page that's specifically optimized for these keywords, everything is just about that. So you're saving that click, saving that time, giving them what they want right away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, is that your pages, your specific pages need to be optimized so you don't just hit a home page, you hit that specific page.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference. Um, so how many people, if you just said 100 service businesses, how many people out there today you think are doing it at least reasonably well out of 100?
I would say maybe in the 50 to 60% mark. That could be even surprisingly high. Um, like Google has the tools SEMrush, so as HubSpot, many companies has these comparative analysis tools where you can really go back and look at what keywords they're focused, what their conversions are, and whatnot. Usually there's a lot of overlap unless it's like a huge company that understands the branding and also understand the power of advertising and leverage both of them. It's rarely you see them effectively using their ad dollars.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Because
And
I don't know, like I don't know if you notice this too. Everybody thinks they know how to post on Facebook, which is true, but there is a tactic. Yes, I know how to use Canva or Adobe, make a great creative, but what usually missing is the strategy. What is the long-term vision and goals for this campaign and how we're tracking everything and how much money we're going to make and are we spending enough? And if not, what needs to be changed? Nobody does that. Everybody just want that band-aid. Okay, like sometimes I get email from clients, can we advertise for this position? Like, can we put some ads up? And I'm like, do you have a recruitment page on your website or are you on Indeed? Right? Like you're wasting your money if you're just advertising this one job. Put
yeah,
everything, take applications continuously, keep advertising, attract the great talent.
yeah. That is one of the changes I sure have noticed in the last 5 years, is that it used to be okay if your business maybe had a job page or maybe had something, but now, because the expectation of people coming in has changed so much, your overall brand, your overall marketing has to include current and potential future employees as well. And
Yeah, you got to keep recruiting. I mean, in advertising industry, the revolving door is average two quarter years. Pretty much everybody learns, get bored, and they want to find something more or better paying job.
mm-hmm,
That's inevitable. So the only way you can combat that is just have all the jobs out there and just keep recruiting. And obviously, you will find good candidates that's always looking for a prospective job, right?
yeah.
Just tag them in and bring them to work for you and see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dan asked a couple other questions. He said he's using Vidyard to create some short videos, demos, and different things like that. Um, and then he also talks about another thing about heat maps. So how much, I mean, when you're looking at these service businesses, when you look at them and you go, the power of video, we're talking about video as hot, the power of video. And you look at two websites and you go, one's using video and one's not using video.
Yeah.
What kind of a difference in traffic conversion or, inquiries? I mean, are we talking like if you switch a website over and embed video in it, you're going to get 3 or 4 times the conversion, or what is it? What does it really do by using video?
So, like, we do have a 12-point checklist for better conversions on the page itself. Video is just one of them. But the
Uh-huh.
way you repurpose it, leverage it, the short form content. So, if you create a video, you can create at least like 16 short form content out of it. They can go into multiple formats. And depending on what it is, you can tell a story and lead them onto the website. And then on the website, they get to hear the full story. For
Oh,
example, let's take a auto dealership, right? And I'm like, I'm at this great viewpoint and I stop by and there is this amazing Mustang behind me and I'm loving the spin. And if you want to learn more, go here. And I can create those series of videos as short form content, put it on YouTube or TikTok, but also use them to bring them onto the website where they get to have more information about everything that I'm doing and why am I doing that. And it's all about the storytelling combined with using the powerful brand.
yeah, yeah.
And people love to watch videos. It's mind blowing how much time they spend on their phones just mindless scrolling, but they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're telling that story and giving them something engaging to watch, they're gonna stay on. They're gonna stay
Yeah.
on. Awesome, awesome. So let's step back a little bit, and because it really is pretty powerful, and I'd like to talk a moment about your TEDx and what really inspired you to do a TEDx talk. I mean, what was behind it?
Honestly, it was a little bit of anger, frustration, and how much we are leveraging what we have and not being grateful for
Okay,
it.
yeah.
Because I know the struggle of not having enough food. I know the struggle of not having enough. Um, but now I see it differently and I'm grateful for it. But the bottom line is when you have everything just granted, you take it for granted, and then there is no gratitude towards that. And and I want to share that story in a way that it's impacting people to go and do more good towards kids' poverty and education. Because
Mm-hmm.
I know when I was in my 10th grade, there were other kids as smart as me, as intelligent as me, and we were competing. And sometimes they're even scoring way better than me. But just because they're poor, they couldn't continue their education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's a big no, and that's still happening in India and in many other countries. And I want to bring some awareness around that. Like, when a kid was born, he didn't choose where to be born or whatnot. So how do we make a society that's better serving everybody? And how do we take care of each other as humans?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because that is one of the things. I mean, I think about it often, the fact that we can create s- spaceships that have gone to the moon. We can create space vehicles that have gone past the end of our solar system. We can put a multi-gazillion billion-dollar Weber telescope up or whatever it's called in the, into the deep space now. But we can't figure out how to get somebody clean water and a little bit of food to eat. It just
Yeah, and
baffles me.
and
It just baffles me.
that's yeah, it's unfortunate. That's the faces of in a way capitalism,
Yeah.
and that got to the greed. And I'm getting a bit of political here, but if you research, there's only three companies that's dictating everything, like BlackRock, Citadel, and a couple of other smaller
Hmm.
guys. Who has majority stakes in every company out there? If you look at your cereals, like the Coca-Cola, like all these companies have investors from these BlackRock and these companies. So
Hmm.
when the money is pooled like that and monopolized, of course, they want to make decisions based on what's creating the shareholders' value, and the CEO is making more money. And I'm not saying money is bad or they can't
Hmm.
make money, but how do you make sustainable?
Yeah.
And you and I know, like, there is a curve and it goes up. You're extremely happy, you're wealthy, every necessity is met. And then after that point, you can't add any value at all. Like you can bring so much money into it, but it doesn't give you the so much joy and happiness.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
at that point, can we look at it and say, okay, I'm taking a $36 million debt, buying a yacht that's sitting in Arabian Sea for the next 6 months, versus what can I do with that money,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
There's definitely choices that we could be making differently that could help a lot of people.
Yeah, and I feel like all these celebrities and multimillionaire billionaires got stuck in that pattern of maintaining that status. They need that money to keep things going. But like as a society, we're debt-based society. So as the
Hmm.
banks, so as the governments. So
Yeah.
the reality is, even though you have the net worth of $100 million, what is the hard cash that's sitting there? Maybe
Yeah.
that's usually 1/10 out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I come back to again, I just think that there are, when we look at things, um, there are better ways we can do what we need to do. That's for
A
sure.
lot. Yes, I
That's what we could
agree.
do. But I'm glad that you took the time to do the TEDx, because I think that, um, we all have to do our part. And if we can, it'll get better. It'll get better.
Yeah, I was finding the mediums, like how do I get message out? How can I inspire people, motivate people? So as my
Yeah.
documentaries or books or my coaching program, it's always about how can we do more as humans and
Yeah.
create that more abundance for everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. So as you're helping these service businesses, what are some of the real wins that you're seeing now with them when they're starting to, so they walk up to you and they go, okay, day one, we want some help. Um, and we're talking down the road, you go, wow, they're going, wow, we never thought, or it's pretty crazy that this happens.
Yeah, like most of the business that we work with, they're like in the 2 year, 3 year mark, early stage, and they really want to make a difference. And I look at the passion behind the entrepreneur and say, these are the tools that you can use to get the product out. Um, there were a couple of businesses, like especially in the home improvement sector and HVAC. So as
Mm-hmm.
the spas and dentists, usually what happens is some of these entrepreneurs has great vision. Like they tell me right up front, I want to grow my staff to this number by this year, and that inspires me because I'm not only doing like my job, but I'm also witnessing somebody's success while I'm building my business.
Yeah.
So you have a shoulder to lean onto and chit chat. How's it going, right?
Yeah.
I have a realtor. He was selling like 20 homes a month. On the average in the city, they sell about 80 a year, and he sells 20 a month,
Oh, 20 a month.
right?
Yeah.
So how do you create that kind of success and you're measuring it? And I usually have lunches with all my accounts. I do that
Mhm.
personally. Catch up. You're looking for investments. What's your next steps? Are you investing real estate? Because I have a huge network of people too. So why
Mhm.
don't I make that introduction so they can go and do something else? And it's all fun. And he was talking to me, and I said, how much you doing? He's like, I think this year we did 6.7 million. And I'm like, okay, that's amazing. And we were just chatting. Okay, is that space enough? What are you doing? And he's like, it's interesting you asked that. I'm trying to build another building right next door, but this is where we are stuck. I want to buy the business, buy the building, so I can expand further. And I was just laughing, and he's like, Krishna, why are you laughing? And I'm like, remember you were at 1.7 million when we started working with you. This is 8 years ago, and he needed to do a PowerPoint presentation to a big corporation to get the exclusivity. And he was like, I mean, he's a business guy, great business guy, but PowerPoint is not something he would do.
Yeah.
And I do these business speeches day to day. So I'm like, okay, I'll put the slideshow together. And he has half an hour. He went to airport, did his pitch, and he got the contract. So these are the conversations, right? Like I see them
Yeah.
growing from 1.7 to 6.7. And I'm like, what is your exit plan? And he's like, 5 6 years, I want to hit 10 million at least. And I'm like, okay, so you have a lot of money, so what is your retirement look like? And the interesting thing for a lot of like humbled entrepreneurs, it doesn't change much. They do their, snowmobiling and,
Yep.
going on their sailing trips. It stays steady, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't just go and show off like a lottery winner or anything like
y-
that.
Yeah.
And other example, there is a MD, and she's a dermatologist. She travels and works at other clinics, but 6 years ago, she took courage and said, maybe I want to invest in my own clinic. And that started, and now, 4,000 patients on her email list, and about 10% of them coming back every year. She doesn't have to look back, but she still
Yeah.
wants to grow, right? Like one location
Yeah.
to another location. And
Yeah.
we work with nail salon spas, basically it's franchisees. So you can buy a lot of assets cheap when somebody's going broke,
Yeah.
right? You're just, you would have the rents, you would have other expenses anyway. All you're buying is just whatever the inventory that's left. And,
Hmm.
almost like a liquidation sale, but I don't want to see any entrepreneur at that level. But you can do a good job and, grow from there. And they had great success. And we work with a lot of jewelry stores that's selling like Pandora jewelry and all these
Hmm.
wedding bands. And surprisingly, people still spend a lot of money on jewelry.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do. They still do. Well, that's cool. And you really, um, it's cool how you get to be with the clients long term and watch their success, your success, help to fuel their success, to help to fuel their life beyond the business, and really
Yeah,
how
our
they see
average
beyond it.
client retention is, sorry, I cut you off there.
No, no, go ahead.
Yeah, like client retention is 8, 9 years. Like all the
Oh
clients
God,
that
that's
have
awesome.
started,
That's
and
awesome.
and we don't take more clients either. Usually 10, 12 new clients a year. It's not much, but I want to keep it lean. I mean, after COVID, I learned a lesson.
Yeah,
Keep it lean, keep it profitable, and of course, 14 years and maybe in 5 years, I start preparing for my exit way, right?
yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, what do you see on the horizon? What's happening now? Everybody's talking about AI. It's going to solve all our problems, make it so none of us have to work. What do you think an AI is going to do to, marketing for these small businesses?
AI, people are scared of AI, honestly, like especially in the marketing world. And is it there yet? Maybe, maybe not. But there is a saying, right? If you can't find them, join them.
Hmm.
And that's what we did. We start building some of our process and models using AI, and it's efficient, and you're not missing it. And I'm not reading 20 emails; it's summarizing it for me,
Yeah.
which is great. It's saving a ton of time, and with few clicks, you can create PowerPoint presentations to websites, and it's vast and it's evolving. But where I see advantages for our marketing clients is we're actually building chatbots that's specifically trained on clients' data and their products and services.
Hmm. I've heard
So
about that. So you can actually then build it based on, hey, this is what Damon does at this business, and give it all the information you can about that, and then it can
yeah,
answer questions, talk in real time with people about it.
yeah. And then it's a little slow. It takes 5, 10 seconds sometimes, depending on because you have a data query and then you have to synthesize it. And I actually have it on my phone. I use that instead of Siri because it has more accurate information. And that's where it's going. And it can even evolve into the generative AI has many potential opportunities.
Hmm.
And I'm sure you have seen this in the news. There are companies paying $200,000 to get your persona. They scan you, they build a robot out of you, and they can use it for whatever they want in the games to commercials, and it's
Hmm.
endless. And I think the scary part with this is there's no regulation or policy framework around
Yeah.
this yet, and it's
Yeah.
evolving too fast. In specifically in marketing, like all the titles. Like we use AI with our Google advertising systems, and it tests the ads and writes the titles, descriptions in real time, and looks for the keywords. And I get an update every day. These are probably the most profitable keywords in the next 7 days. I mean, some of this product predictive analysis, we couldn't do that fast. By the time it takes a day for you to come up with conclusion, it's probably moved on. It's like he's hit and miss. But with this predictive analysis, you can really do things faster, and you can auto
Yeah.
apply a lot of these suggestions right away.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be something. And like you said, if you can't beat them, you got to join it. But it is. And you hear this from a lot of people that are around this kind of stuff, yourself included, that not having some like boundaries or any regulations or any limitations really, it could be dangerous for us. But
It's an inevitable risk. So how do we work
yeah,
together with the systems? A lot of people don't know that AI existed even going back like 4 or 5 years ago when I don't know if you heard of Aladdin. It's TalkBot, right?
yeah,
So it's already there out doing that, and people are
hmm,
just realizing what's happening.
yeah, yeah, yep. Good stuff. Well, Krishna, thank you so much for being here today. When we go back and think about what you're talking about, the service business, your examples of your clients, your tenure with your clients, 8-9 years, but the importance of now adopting video into your marketing because of the changes in keeping people engaged in your content, short form video, and how your storytelling can work. And then also back to your roots of understanding how that really measuring the results. Are we getting the right people? Are they engaging with us the way that we want to be? And are they creating actual better business results for us? Our marketing, is it actually being effective? Thanks so much for being here.
No, thank you. And if I can leave with one thought for anybody, with any advertising models, whether it's Facebook, Google, every customer needs to build their own models and have their own data. If 10 customer walks in every day, that's 3,650 customers in a year. You want to have their phone number, email, and how do you use that to leverage that for your business growth? You can use it for Facebook marketing, Google marketing, whatever. Google can die tomorrow, Facebook can die tomorrow, but you would need customers to grow your business.
That is gold right there, because I think that, and I'll just say because there's a lot of people that have built businesses that have went way up on these social platforms, and a social platform change was made and they go way down.
Yeah,
And they're doing that. But when you own that customer data and you understand who those customers are and how they got there, it's powerful for you in the future. So thank you
totally.
so much. Appreciate you being here today. I want to say, Dan, thanks a lot. Lots of good Dan even brought in the Bill Gates. He was talking about that after we were talking about, making things better for the world. Dan also, he just released an article the other day. I read it on LinkedIn about AI and ERP. Dan does ERP work, enterprise resource planning work for larger companies, and did some good stuff there. But Krishna Lakkineni, excuse me, say your last name for me because I'm getting tongue tied.
Lakkineni.
Lakkineni. Yes, I said it right the first time
Yes, you did.
earlier, but I couldn't get it again. From ROI Media Works. And if people are looking for you on LinkedIn, it is V Krishna Lakkineni, and with the VK in parentheses, so you know who it is, and they can reach out there. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks everyone else. We'll be back again with another episode next week. Hang out for a
Thank
minute.
you. Thanks for